heart of high school wrestling is here in Adams County, and nobody covers it like WZBD.
You guys got a heck of a view.
It's time for Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly.
Everybody wants to be there.
It's the coolest thing in the world.
90 minutes of interviews, results, discussions, and prognostications.
I'm excited.
As Hall of Famer Rex Brewer and Dane Filling bring you another episode.
We hope that you can join us here
Live from
the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille
on Channel Z.
I'm excited.
92.7 FM.
Well, welcome everybody here for our first show of the season. It's the Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly live from the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille. And wrestling season already underway here in Z-Land. We got a little bit of a delayed start to the season. We didn't start in mid-October like we have done for the last 2 or 3 years. But we're excited to bring you this first show, and we've got 17 more shows after this for our usual 18-show schedule. And I know I penciled in now. This is the first of 16 Sunday nights in a row, I think, eaten with Steve and Connie and all my friends here at the Double Eagle. And we're excited for the start of wrestling season. We know we're deep into football season in Adams County, but wrestling season is right around the corner. We've got 3 or 4 guests for you tonight. We're going to focus mostly on the girls' side of things because the boys haven't really started yet and the girls are underway, but we've got lots to go through. And I was going to introduce my partner, but he's walked away. He's just double-checking the conditions and the setup and the everything. And here's my partner, Hall of Famer, Rex Brewer.
Thank you. I appreciate Steve Rouse making that new intro for us. We never had an intro.
I like it.
We never had our own intro.
I like it because you can hear Mikey on there going, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this. I actually had the privilege of staying in the Reiser household just
Really?
a couple months ago.
Really?
He showed me around the region, showed me around Crown Point, and what a cool place. A lot of Dillinger-related artifacts up there and with the courthouse. And, man, I tell you what, when you hear people talk about kids transferring from school district to school district up there, and you think, man, they're always moving all around. That's because they're so close.
Yeah.
It's just from one intersection to the next, the roadside signs change, and you're into a new school district.
Well, when I refereed in the region up there, you need an escort out of the place. So I was glad to have somebody show me around up there.
Yeah, we're going to talk about coaching changes throughout the state later on, both on the girls' side and the boys' side. We're going to give a shout-out to a couple of new Hall of Famers, you and another who are here in the house tonight.
And she wore her shirt.
We'll talk to the most important person in high school wrestling in Indiana, Pat Culp, later on. And we've also got a couple of coaches' interviews. One coach is over here enjoying a fine meal for the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille.
Double Eagle Burger is a special for tonight, which I have, and will be half of my lunch tomorrow.
Yeah, and of course we're going to sing the praises of the Double Eagle and their food menu throughout the season. They're our hosts for, I think, 15 of our 18 shows. I think we've got one show at Mishawaka, one show at the girls' state finals, and our traditional show at the boys' state finals at the end of the year.
And our good friend Jason Cree.
And he's in a good mood because the Bears.
The Bears.
Big comeback win. Caleb Williams with a great run at the end. Got that win. And, well, I don't know if we want to go that far, Jason.
Notre Dame played in the snow last night.
Yeah, and there's some snow, and there's some. We got a lot of listeners who are currently looking out their windows, looking at snow because it hit pretty hard up in the region and in the South Bend area on the lake side of things. Even my sister, who lives on the north side of Fort Wayne, had a couple inches of snow in her yard. We got nothing here at the golf course.
I went to Fort Wayne this afternoon, and there was a lot of snow on the ground compared to what we had here.
Yeah, so our first show of the season, obviously, as we said, a little bit delayed because I was off gallivanting around Europe, and you were getting ready for your son's wedding, and so we decided to start the show a little bit later this year. But rest assured, we've got lots and lots planned for you. Still going to get 18 shows in. The calendar's a little bit kinder to us this year as far as where the holidays fall and all those types of things. And the newest part of the show, I guess, for most people is that we're going to go live on YouTube, always on Sundays, and then that'll be simulcast almost every Sunday on 92.7 FM. There are a couple of shows because of the Colts and because of the Super Bowl where we'll tape delay our show live on air, but you'll always be able to go straight to YouTube and either listen to it live or immediately after the show, whenever it is that you consume the content, it'll be right there easy. And that makes one less thing for Dave Nathan in the studio to have to do in the mornings.
That's a good thing for the podcasters that people have to wait till Tuesday to open up a podcast and listen. YouTube is instant. You can listen to us live, or the second we go off, it's there to listen to anytime you want. So.
Yeah, and we're going to be joined multiple times this season by Wade McClurg from Warrior RTC. We're really excited about his partnership, and I know his partnership with Adams County Wrestling has really expanded in the last couple of years, and I know that I just saw him at Belmont practice just a couple of days ago. We'll, of course, have that live show at Mishawaka, and the big difference this year for Belmont wrestling fans is Mishawaka is in January this year for the first time ever. Not going to be in December.
Not on my wife's birthday.
It's not going to be on your wife's.
I was told I have to go.
So we're excited about that. And then, of course, we also have the reveal of the last teams in for Team State. So just like every year that we've done this show, the IHSWCA Team State Tournament will be a featured part, especially in December and January. So look forward to that show. That's on Sunday, December 21st, when we will reveal the last teams voted in. 4 teams each in 2A, 3A, and 4A. Or, I'm sorry, 1A, 2A, and 3A. And the last 2 teams in 4A. We'll talk about Team State with Pat Culp later on, and then we'll reveal the brackets on Monday, January 5th, just a handful of days after we get done with Mishawaka, and then just 5 days before the actual Team State tournament. And Team State this year is going to be at Brownsburg and at Franklin. So those of you who are listening and are used to going to Jay County, or maybe went to Adams Central last year, you better get on there and see if there's any hotel rooms left, because we've got a pretty big road trip coming up for Adams County wrestling fans. And, of course, the great thing is for Adams County fans, all 3 teams in Team State again. And that just makes our job so much more fun, because all of those things are in play for all 3 teams. And from South Adams' perspective, the last couple of years, they don't have to worry about trying to get in. They can worry about being ready on January 10th. And, sometimes they were kind of putting guys in awkward situations, weight management. Maybe they weren't ready. Put some young guys into the varsity lineup. Like, we can't lose this match. We got to be ready. Now all that matters is the seed.
And I've already talked to Coach Tante, and I said, Coach, you need to put me in a good spot so I can see both Adams Central and South Adams at the same time. And he said, I got you covered, Bruce. So we should be good to go. Yeah,
we're looking forward to it. You'll be at Franklin for the 1A tournament. The 3A will also be there. And I'll be at Brownsburg for the 2A tournament and for the big dogs in 4A. We'll talk lots and lots of Team State throughout the year, and really looking forward to it. All 3 teams in Adams County are going to be very competitive, teams that are looking to make the semis for sure, and with titles in mind.
Cool.
So with that wraps up our first weigh-ins for the first show of the season. We're going to see if Rex can get his ads fired up here, and we'll try not to talk during the commercials and see if we can't mute ourselves. We'll be right back after this.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable, and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Berne, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
Welcome back to Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille, where we are joined with our first guest here, the wonderful Pat Culp, who she is pretty much the queen of Indiana wrestling, isn't she, Dane?
She doesn't like it when we say that, but it is true. There's no doubt about it.
Ask anyone else. We're not the only ones that think that.
That's right. So welcome to the show once again. I know last year we were stuck with you on the phone, so it's very nice to have you here in person. And you had the opportunity to eat supper not just with one Hall of Famer, but with a second Hall of Famer tonight. So before we do anything, let's talk up Mary just for a little bit.
Of course
just
we can. Let's talk her up.
Obviously, I missed out on the opportunity to really talk her up at the Hall of Fame ceremony because I was stuck at home with parent-teacher conferences. But what a deserving honor for her and the time that she's poured into youth for decades across Indiana, and a very recognizable figure, recognizable voice. I don't know if a lot of people totally understand. We have a lot of people who listen to wrestling on the radio a ton. They listen to our show, but they're not always in attendance. And so maybe they're not aware of the fact that Mary's voice rings out over a lot of the big tournaments. And you know, wrestling fans and wrestlers, for sure, are creatures of habit. And they like this year being the same as it was last year. And they want a continued voice. And, you know, what would those tournaments at Warren Central be in March without Mary's voice, telling somebody to go to this mat, that mat, not to get their car towed, you know, those types of important things. So why don't you talk a little bit about Mary and how deserving she was to finally get in the Hall of Fame?
You're at Team State Duel sometimes that she's announcing. They all know Mary throughout the state of Indiana. And it's not just Mary, it's her entire family that's been involved with it. And she's kind of my travel partner, so anywhere I go, Mary's with me.
You need to drive from now on.
I do.
It wasn't her fault.
It wasn't my fault. I know that, Mary.
Well, we certainly congratulate Mary, and we're glad that she's with us tonight, and certainly well-deserved. And Rex, obviously well-deserved on your part as well. I think there are very few people in this sport who have worn as many different hats as you have and had the impact from a local level to a state level. And, you know, when it comes down to wrestling, you know, coaches don't like to give up their jobs. Guys love to talk about the streaks that they have, and it really is about longevity and about being involved. Anybody can be a good wrestler and wrestle in high school and come back when they're 21, 22, and rough up some 15 and 16-year-olds in a room. And, you know, anybody can referee when they're 28, but when you are still involved in the sport at 35 and at 40 and at 50 and at 65, and all of those people that you used to know gave up helping the sport 15, 20 years ago because, well, I'm too busy. Well, we're all busy.
Because I have a real-time job, too. This is just the playtime fun.
And I just think that's worth saluting, and you deserve credit for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's get into it. Let's talk about the girls' season first. I even wrote down some questions. That's how prepared I was. I mean, I think the obvious first question is, we've got the first official sanctioned IHSAA season under our belts. What's going to be different about Season 2?
Season 2, I think that you were there. You saw the competition. It's even better this year. I mean, even at the invitationals, they've been saying, and just this past weekend, how tough it was at all the invitationals. And so I think we're going to see that continue to grow. This year, we're still having it at the State Fairgrounds on Friday.
It was a perfect place for it last year. I swear,
we loved it.
Perfect place for it.
Yeah, but we've expanded. We're taking over another building too. So.
What does that mean?
That means that's where we're going to house the teams
Gotcha.
and the girls to give them a little bit more room. So that's where we'll do the staging on the parades, and then there will be like a gate there, just like with the boys. They can only come on, you know, into the mats when it's their time to come up. So we are making enhancements on all of that. So
yeah, and of course the girls state finals are, I'm trying to leaf through my, here we go, January 16th. And our mics will be there. We'll be on YouTube throughout the entire day. And Rex, how many years have we done the girls state finals in a row? I'm thinking we've been there for at least 6 years.
We was on the very
No,
first one.
the very first one was at Hamilton.
Yeah, I was going to say
with
the
87 girls.
The first one
We
was
did
at
not do that one.
Yeah. I think it's at least been 6 years that we've been there, and the growth is just incredible. I know that this year there is a change in the postseason schedule. Last year they went to 3 weekends, and it was Friday, Friday, Friday. And now this year it's Friday, Saturday, Friday. Why don't you talk about that a little?
Yeah. So as I was getting all the locations for the sectionals, I got those all pretty much wrapped up. I moved on, and I was trying to get the locations for the regionals. With it being on a Friday, and school is back in session at that time.
Here it is. Got her.
So it was hard. I had 2 schools that said yes, that they could do it on a Friday, but then I was not coming up with any other schools that could do it because of school being in session. So I met with Mr. Falkins, and we decided he would take it back to his board, and we decided, eventually we have to start moving to Saturdays anyway, so why not just take those 2 or those 4 locations, go ahead and move them to a Saturday now. We don't know when the rest of them will go to a Saturday, but at least the regionals will be on a Saturday.
Now, has there been any talk about the overlap of the 2 seasons, the girls' season and the boys' season? I know a lot of people that maybe don't follow basketball that closely in Indiana don't realize that the girls start, a full 4 weeks before the boys, and the girls' tournament ends, and then the next weekend the boys start. Is there any move towards that, or is it just too much infringement on some of the fall girls' sports to start it any earlier?
No, there has been talk about that. So, we're looking, right now we have the 2 weeks, but, there has been talk about it, whether or not that's going to happen, maybe move it, 3 or 4 weeks earlier. But as of right now, it's the 2 weeks, but that is a discussion we have.
My other question that I had written down for you was last year, actually for several years, we've been talking about the whole idea of being sanctioned and what it means and the authenticity and importance and all those types of things. Looking back on it, how much do you think the IHSAA sanctioning added to last year compared to the year before, and how much of it was just natural progression anyways?
I think it was huge. I do. I think it was huge that once they sanctioned it, they know it's a real sport. We did have schools out there, though, that were treating it as a real sport, still giving them, awards and things like that. We had other schools that wanted nothing to do with it. So I think, all in all, I think the sanctioning was huge for the state of Indiana. We're actually seeing that, trickle down now into middle school. For example, Mount Vernon, Fortville, they had 58 girls show up for middle school call-out.
Really? Wow, that's incredible. And obviously, one of the real difficulties with middle school wrestling in any arena is the fact that middle school sports are not sanctioned by the IHSAA in any way. And so it's the wild, wild west. If you've ever coached a middle school sport, you know that there's no governing body. There is only gentlemen's agreements between schools. There's very loose sets of rules based on conferences. And, of course, even the conferences aren't truly – they're not really conferences because there's no real thing as a middle school conference. And so you kind of have these hodgepodges of maybe past relationships and conferences and all of those things. So trying to get rules implemented for middle school is even more difficult.
Right. And that's something that Gary and I are looking at right now because we want to now start focusing on middle school because it's going to feed into the high school. So right now we're reaching out to different ADs throughout the state to see, because the girls are growing so fast, to see if at least if they can if they have duels already lined up, can you put another mat down and do just girls only duels? Can you put another mat down for your invitationals and do just a girls only invitational at the same time you're doing the boys? Just to give that separation so that we can continue to grow the girls and bring them up to the high school level.
Yeah, and of course, there would be a lot of problems in our sport fixed if we simply had more officials.
Right. So, we did reach out a couple years ago to Indiana Tech. We did get 9 female officials from them. So we're starting to train them, and they're doing the ISWA state finals, RTCs, central regionals. So we just got to reach into some of those colleges and have them start giving back. Not only officials, but coaches.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, the next question that I think is, what's the logical next step? Obviously, scheduling is a little bit different, but like, what's the next level in Indiana girls high school wrestling? 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road. What changes? What's the next big thing?
Well, the next big thing, which is currently going on, is we do JV State, which is going to be on January 17th at Ball State University, and it will be boys and girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what specific venue are they going to be using for that?
It's the one that's attached to the gym.
Okay.
Because we're going to have 6 to 8 mats down. Yeah, it's already lined up. It's all ready to go. We got schools already signing contracts. They just think it's great because, as you know, as small schools, after Christmas, after the Christmas break, it's hard to keep those JV guys in the room because they really don't have anything to do. They leave. There's nothing for them to achieve. So they can still. We worked with the IHSAA. They still can participate in JV State, and then if something would happen, hit the sectional lineup.
Yeah, and obviously as you're trying to grow a sport, the last thing
Yes.
you want to do is have somebody come out, compete, and then never get to wrestle in front of their family, in front of their friends.
Exactly.
So I think that's important too.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing it across the board, especially in schools the size of Belmont and Adams Central and South Adams. Kids don't want to put in the time if there's not something for them to have to show. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you've got to be able to wrestle in front of your friends, play football in front of your friends. Nobody wants to get pummeled in football practice 5 days a week and then not get to play in the JV
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
and so
that's
I
right.
think it's the exact same line. Yeah. What kind of support are you getting from the IHSAA on these initiatives?
From who? I'm sorry.
From the IHSAA.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we met with Mr. Falcons on the JV State. The first year, we got snowed out. We had bad weather. We got snowed out. Last year, it was big. We probably had 300 or 400 kids participating. This year, we're expecting 500 to 600 kids. You know how it's going to keep growing as the word spreads. So, he's 100% behind it. He gave us our point system. He gave us all of that. Just how we started out with girls, we're doing this with him.
And where was JV State last year?
It was at Ben Davis.
Ben Davis, that's right. I was there for a little bit, and it was crowded.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people there. And so, yeah, anything that we can do to continue to give those kids opportunities because, when we're talking about school size and squad size and transfers and all of those types of things, a lot of those moves boil down to kids just want to wrestle. They want to compete.
Right.
And I don't, I've been putting time in for 5 years or 8 years, and now all of a sudden, I'm at a school that has 3 JV meets the whole year, and I'm stuck behind somebody, and I don't have anywhere to go. And kids don't want to do that.
And if they stay in shape to possibly get part of the team state, you can roll a couple of guys in there, but you're not guaranteed.
Well, and two, wrestling falls into a time in the calendar when, you're right, you come back in the first week of January, spring sports don't start until mid-March. There's a big, long gap in there where most of these kids who are in fall sports, they want to sit at home for a week and just catch their breath because winter practices start so soon after the fall sports season starts. So there's a lot of opportunity there to get kids in the room for, maybe they're the varsity guy next year or the year after that. So that's definitely a big positive, and it's been a big development because I remember Sean Farreau maybe 10 years ago sitting down one day and just looking at the state of our JV schedule, and, Belmont would have 8 dual meets, and in 6 of those dual meets we'd have 2 JV matches.
Right.
And, we didn't have enough coaches, and there weren't enough individual JV tournaments on Saturdays to go to, and it just became difficult. And so now having those types of series with freshman, sophomore state and the JV state and the qualifiers and all of those types of things, it's given those freshmen a lot different. And, freshman wrestling has evolved in the decades of this sport, especially in Adams County, where it used to be you'd have dozens and dozens of guys out as freshmen, and there was no chance of them having a spot. And then we got into this time where there were these freakishly good freshmen who were getting varsity time right away, but then their buds who weren't as good as them were getting nothing. They were getting no recognition at all.
Yeah,
So.
which is why you want to keep it in season so that they get that and they can even step on the mat in sectionals if need be.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll continue here with our first period, but we'll pay some homage here to our sponsors right after this.
The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hirschy and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Locally owned and operated by Shane Reynolds and family, DDD Maintenance and Repair is your place to go for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. Located just outside of Monroe, DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers sand and glass blasting for all of your surface restoration projects. Whether you're looking to get your truck or diesel engine to run like new, or your metal restoration project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille. Rex Brewer along with Dane Filling and our special guest, Pat Culp. And this week's special here on Sunday night was wings, as always, and the Double Eagle Burger. And if you're from Decatur and you've eaten at the Double Eagle, you know what the Double Eagle Burger is. Our guest over here had one, and it is gone. Well, he saved half, just like me, for lunch tomorrow. So,
Jimmy LaRue, the head coach of the Norwell Knights, is getting his first taste of the Double Eagle. We hope that he will join us. We've got Coach Sprunger and Coach Duncan lined up for later here in the next couple of weeks. We've already got shows scheduled for Coach Myers and Coach Farote and Coach Wynn from South Adams, and we'll have the new coaches at Adams Central in here as well. Obviously, football taking up most of the attention down in Monroe and Byrne here for the first couple of weeks. So I was already looking at the broadcast schedule, and I can almost guarantee that if we get another win from South Adams, and you'll be there on Friday night, we get another win from South Adams, we're going to end up having to change our wrestling schedule immediately, because Belmont and South Adams are scheduled to wrestle before the conference duels, and we know from past experience now, 5 years in a row, that if you make it to semi-state or state, you effectively take that conference duels and make that your very first competition.
you know, people are talking and said that the both those teams are picked to win the northern half of the division and both going to state this year. So knock wood that good luck to both of them in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because I already have you written down for a trip to Andrean here in 2 weeks.
Man. Send me to Pioneer instead.
I don't know if we're going to go to Pioneer. I don't know. I have to look at.
That'd be next week.
Try to do 1 week at a time. 1 week at a time.
You have trouble with 1 week at a time.
If you are a football fan, we will have both regional championship games for you. We will have Adams Central and who are we playing? Eastbrook. Adams Central and Eastbrook playing at 7 o'clock on Friday. That'll be on 92.7, and you'll be at North Miami.
Denver, Indiana.
He'll have the Starfires and the Warriors.
Me and Sweet Lou.
Indians? Warriors.
North Miami Indians.
Indians,
yeah. North Miami Indians. That'll be on our YouTube channel. And then the following Friday, you know, we're very, very close now to a situation where we're going to have a 92.7 broadcast and dual YouTube broadcasts on the 21st, because I'll be at Wawasee for the Belmont Wawasee match. You'll be at Andrean in a different time zone with Lou potentially, and who knows where.
We left at noon last year, I think.
Well, you're going back in time or into the future or one of those things. So as we wrap up our talk about what's new for girls team state, we'll be joined by a couple of girls head coaches here later on. Tell us a little bit about last year's team state event. We were hoping to cover it. It didn't work in our schedule. It was a great tournament and a good turnout. What's that going to look like this year?
Yeah, it's going to be the same format. We're still going to take our sectional winners. That'll be 16 of them. They will come together at Fishers High School on January 24th. And oh my gosh, last year was just, I heard it was just loud and just so exciting. And because I doing the Fort Wayne Kids Nationals, and so Gary was there, and it was fabulous. Everybody just raved about it. They said the competition, of course, was wonderful. So
Yeah,
it was
and
great.
we are always on this show, especially, and in most of our broadcasts, talking up the beauty of the dual meet and these weight classes against this school's weight classes. And the difference in, if wrestling were just an individual tournament sport, it would lose a lot of its appeal, at least for the two of us, as what we get out of it. So when the girls were first starting and only had that opportunity to wrestle individually in a, the team point system that a lot of times doesn't make a whole lot of sense for people, especially when it's teams of 4 against teams of 2 and teams of 7, right? Now to get those girls in a dual meet setting and to see all of these dual meets and to see Joe have a separate section on Indiana Mat for boys results, girls results, and to see those jump on there, it's awesome.
Yeah, we actually have one of your local guys who does our seating for us.
Yes.
He
Yes.
has done that for
Merv? Marv?
No, we have Razzo,
Oh,
Yes,
Brandon.
Brandon
Yeah,
has been
he-
doing the rankings for a long time, even
A
though
long
he moved
time.
out of state.
He didn't even live here.
And actually, they're relying on him at USA Wrestling for all of the Indiana girls ranking. So
Cool.
he takes it on nationally too.
Nice. And I
Yeah.
believe the girls' rankings will be out here in the next week or two, as will the Indiana Mat preseason mag. I know I sent in my preseason team rankings, and Mikey's been working hard on his individual rankings, and all the semi-state guys have been working on theirs. So we definitely want to give a shout out. If you're a wrestling fan and you're hungry for some content, go to Indiana Mat Daily here this week and wait for that link to come out and send it. You get the digital copy sent right to you, and you've got all that stuff to read. And in this day and age, with transfers and guys moving schools and moving districts and moving states, there's a lot to get caught up on. You don't just go off of last year's results, cross out the 12th graders, and just start with something new. There's guys moving all over the place, and it's hard to keep up with.
Whether or not you've changed the schedule or not, Pat, he told me like 2 months ago, you're going to go to Columbia City and cover that 64-team girls tournament that is coming up. So that's a first for us. And, have you determined, is that the largest tournament
It is.
in the state, in the nation?
I don't know if it is for nation, but
Somebody's going to prove us wrong. We're going to say nation. There you go. They'll have
yeah,
to prove us wrong.
but it is for the state. So I think the goal is to have that be the female Al Smith.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's huge. Like Joe came
Yep.
last year, broadcasted.
Are you going to call it the Blaine Culp Classic? Is it going to get that?
I don't,
get that name?
we don't have a name yet.
Okay.
So, but it's huge. It's huge.
And remind me again, that's a 2-day tournament?
It is a 2-day.
Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving.
That's correct.
And I think our plans for WZBD are to jump on YouTube. Rex is going to be there. And will you do finals all by themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just like last year.
So I don't know if we'll see what the timing is for it, but we're definitely going to bring the finals because those are the girls that we're going to expect to see in the state finals. And when it comes to interviews and all those types of things, we got to get some of those girls in interview shape because they're not quite used to being on the radio sometimes. So we also want to talk about the departure in Indiana high school wrestling from track to the new system. Many of us who are all the way in on high school wrestling already know all about it, but there's still some casual fans on there who are probably going to be looking for track wrestling here in the next couple weeks to check out some of the results. They're not going to find anything. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, so I'm going to say about 3 years ago, kind of figured out that we were going to be moving to USA bracketing, that USA Wrestling was developing their own system. And I can tell you this now, that the original owner and developer of track wrestling, Justin Tritz, actually helped develop this. So it's real similar to track wrestling. The last year, Mr. Falcons had the girls be the pilot state for the entire nation. So basically our girls coaches were developing this system for us, and they did a fantastic job. I mean, it's just wonderful. And now this year we moved the boys onto it. The difference is we're no longer using the IHSAA weight management. So we have moved that onto this. So now their weight management, their records, their events, their schedule, everything is right there.
There are parts of this that I like better than track wrestling. There's a few features. If you're a broadcaster and you're watching a certain team and you want to know where they're at, you go to the team and it puts them. It tells you where they're at in line, so you know
Yes.
who's on deck, who's in a hole. You know right there. So it's like I don't want to miss a wrestler, so you keep track, keep that off on the side, and you can open up a bunch of pages and have them all
Yes.
open and just click from one to there and go. Okay, that's where I want to watch the team. If I want to watch a person, you can go click on that person. You see they're at in lineup, and I think it has some features that are better than track.
It doesn't. It'll even say, hey, Sally's up in 15 minutes on mat 4.
Yeah.
It'll even tell you that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have to try to do our best to offer some tips as we come across them. I know from where I was a year ago trying to use the system and understand where, I want to know everybody who is returning from New Haven High School, and I want to go to last year's state finals. How do I get there? Which buttons do I click in which order? I pretty well got all of that down now. I think that the biggest drawback is just going to be that so much of the old data is on track from years past. And if I want to compare, what has Norwell done at regional the last 3 years, well, I go to track wrestling. I can search regional and find all 3 in a row. 5 years from now, that won't be a problem. It's just that some of that data isn't there. But and I've even noticed that some of the stuff on track wrestling has disappeared. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah, somebody told me about that.
So a lot of the data that you're used to just going back on, like if we're going to talk about a kid, a big matchup for a Sunday show, we can go back and look, okay, the last time that he wrestled Xavier Palacios, this is what happened. Some of that data has disappeared. And so those of us who keep paper binders are still in the good. You just got to remember where you put that binder.
Did your new black book show up this year already?
Yeah, it's
Okay, you got it.
it's here somewhere. Although somehow I didn't make myself a Belmont Wrestling scrapbook last year. I made them all. Well, Finley made them all, and there's like 35 of them, and then there's no hair filling book that got made. So I'm stealing Chloe's right now as I go through it to make the media guide. Before we finish up with you, Pat, anything interesting about Columbia City wrestling coming up here in the next couple weeks? Do you want to speak for your son?
For my son, I don't know if I want to speak for him. I would probably be wrong. But no, he's very excited. I think he's got 23 girls. So he's real excited. He says they're going to do great. They went down to Alexandria Monroe. They performed very well. So he's got some returning girls that were at state last year. So hopefully he has a good team.
And that's nice because we were able to do a full girls dual meet because he and Jay County had so many girls that you can have a full dual meet. I mean,
Right.
it's just really cool.
Yeah, it is. It is really good. But I do have some news. You guys know about Real American Freestyle? You haven't followed Real
No.
American Folk? Okay, so that was started by Hulk Hogan before he passed away. So you've got Sarah Hildebrand in it. You got Mason Paris in it. You got all of these.
RAF, the RAF.
Yeah, RAF.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
right. Yep,
yeah.
I do know.
So just this week we found out that we're bringing that to Indianapolis on December 20th.
Okay.
It's going to be awesome. It's at the new Fishers thing.
Oh,
so
I just
how
drove. I went to Butler Saturday
Yeah.
night, and when I drove back home on I-69, what are all these cars going here? And I realized that Saturday night was the opening of that arena.
Oh, that's the different one. That's
okay.
That's the Innovative Mile. I just went down there and went through that one too. It's amazing, but it's pretty small.
Probably
but
small
the
for
one
wrestling.
behind it's what's the place where you can go and you can get furniture and all that stuff?
IKEA.
Behind IKEA is the
Okay.
Fishers, is the new Fishers one,
Ah,
and
okay.
it's really big, and that's where it's going to be. And I know it has nothing to do with what we're
Yeah,
talking
but
about.
it's still.
It's supposed to be Mason Paris and Wyatt Hendricks are going to have a matchup. Sarah's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be all these people.
And Dane, true to your heart, today I went
Yeah.
by the new Fort Wayne Football Club stadium under construction. I
Yeah,
went by and I was like,
Ah.
what?
Slowly getting
I was
that
like,
steel
what
up.
is that?
That's really big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, that one's definitely going to be a lot of fun when it comes, I believe, in March or April, although they just introduced a brand new crest and brand new colors, which kind of threw my sons for a loop. They're like, Dad, we bought all this gear, and now it's
Different color.
It's retro, son.
Yeah,
It's retro.
yeah.
Last question. New coaches listening, coaches who maybe missed the last meeting, where do you go to get information on questions on the weight management system, on scheduling, on anything that has to do with sort of USA bracketing?
Okay, so on USA Bracketing, of course, they can always call me. Most of them have my phone number or email. Also on USA Bracketing, there's a contact us. There's a phone number. There's a ticket system. You can use both, and their customer service has been phenomenal. So just phenomenal.
So, Dane, the smart coaches have Pat's number in their phone.
Yes, obviously. The ones who want to have some success this year know where to get the information. They don't
Yeah.
have to ask fools like us.
Yeah.
Well, Pat, we thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us. I know that you do a lot of work behind the scenes, so it's good for people to hear your voice and to realize how hard you've been working all off season. I know it used to be that I could take the summer off from thinking about wrestling, but it seems like more and more and more, there's lots and lots of times where I'm driving in the car and all of a sudden on the screen on the van it says, Pat Culp and Greg Ratliff have texted, and we go back and forth. So we are excited for not having 4 sites this year. I guess that's probably the one last thing we should talk about.
Yeah.
If you want to speak to the reasoning or the motivation behind that, what we were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so if you remember many years ago, we used to have it at the Fort Wayne Coliseum where all 4 divisions were actually there, and it was the excitement there was amazing. It was so electric. You got to watch 1A, you got to watch 4A, and 4A went on for quite a while, but everybody loved seeing it. So it's hard to get all of those mats, all those schools into one area. So we did, and it was kind of a big puzzle trying to get equipment, officials, workers, everything to 4 places. This way we've got it narrowed down to 2, with Brownsburg News Field House. Of course, Franklin has a field house. So we're able to bring, 1A and 3A to Franklin, 2A and 4A to Brownsburg, and then they can watch each other. And we're trying to get that back. Maybe eventually we'll get back to 1. Who knows? But I just think it's amazing.
My personal preference is that's the way it should be.
Yes.
And it was phenomenal. I know logistically trying to get the venue, that stuff's nightmare. And I know that
Right.
you and Robert worked for years to try and
Yes.
get the girls in that new facility. That's phenomenal. But just trying to logistically get every school into that team state is just a nightmare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're super excited for partnering with the Coaches Association and bringing everybody the broadcast for the last teams in each of the 4 classes and revealing the brackets on January 5th. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be fun. I love doing it.
Well, thanks, Pat, for joining us. We'll send it back to commercial, and we'll be back with more High School Wrestling Weekly right after this.
Hello, this is Joel from your local hometown Package Liquors. Package Liquors provides the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers in Z-Lane. With locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, you're always just a short drive away from picking up the perfect last-minute gift or just the right six-pack to watch the game with friends. You're never a stranger when you walk through the doors, and our smiling staff never has a problem giving you a recommendation when you're not sure what it is you need. Stop in at one of our 4 locations and see what hometown service looks like. Package Liquors, it's where your friends shop. Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for another episode and another segment of the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly. And we are joined by our next guest.
Yeah, Jimmy LaRue, the head coach of the Norwell Knights, is here to talk about Wells County Wrestling. And, first time on the show, we want to welcome you, and we want to tell you how excited we are to try to reach out more to our Wells County fan base. We do have a lot of overlap when we cover our Adams County teams on the Wells County side. Of course, in November and December and a little bit of January, you guys are kind of the adversaries. But when it comes to regional and semi-state and state, we've really gained some great relationships with some of those Bluffton wrestlers, Norwell guys, back when Southern Wells was really at their peak. It's been a lot of fun. And this community really enjoys following guys from those schools, even though they're not from Adams County. And I want to give a shout out to Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt, obviously our title sponsor, to Decatur Package Liquors, to Joel with his locations in Markle and in Bern and Monroe. But like Joel is one of those guys who, because of the nature of his business, he's not allowed to run ads during high school sporting events because he's a liquor store. And so he makes sure to support this show because he really appreciates everything that WZBD does when it comes to wrestling coverage. And so I just want to make sure that we highlight that, he even reached out to me about supporting football this year. And, it just doesn't work. IHSLB doesn't allow you to do that. So he ended up buying extra ads for Purdue football and wanted to make sure that the station knew that he was giving his funds, his advertising dollars to help with high school football. So that definitely, deserves recognition. So
and you do make your point to visit his establishment and help support him.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter who it is. I know that you and I have just we've bought a couple of appliances in the last couple of years. My first call when my washer went out was to Craigville Appliance. And, he does so much locally in the community.
Season cat meow.
It makes no sense to go to Best Buy or to anywhere else or to Menards or wherever. They took care of it. They brought it out. They helped me out. So all of those things kind of come in together to create what's a really cool atmosphere for covering high school sports here in our little bi-county area. So that's just my plug for
all of our sponsors
for making sure that that we give them all thanks. So, well, Coach, welcome to the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how your first year went? Last year was your first year, right?
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking about. How your first year went as a head coach at Norwell and what you got in store here for the second year.
Yeah, well, thank you guys. I think WZBD is an awesome channel and a beautiful platform where you guys are bringing awareness to the athletes that are putting in that hard work. So that's really beautiful. And first year, man, it was awesome how I got to give a lot of credit to Jill Cox, who talked to me relentlessly on the phone. And, yeah, just reminded me of Empowered by 3. So I ran a wrestling academy for 5 years with Connor Brummett. And a lot of our wrestlers were Norwell wrestlers, and Cody Cox was one of those boys that we got to grow with. And so, yeah, embraced last year. It was coming into a storm, if you will. There's just some drama stuff that happened with kids being, what's the word? I guess just unaware, not listening well to the rules, if you will.
Yeah.
So
that happens.
A lot of hearts were broken, like truly. And I'm thankful that there were some relationships that were reestablished there through just care. And, yeah, it was awesome to embrace the team that we had. It was smaller, and it's small this year too. But that's what I'm hoping maybe this radio station can also bring awareness to as well.
Yeah, and, when you're coming in as a high school head coach, maybe I can think of an instance. But there are very few instances, maybe in boys volleyball because it's brand new, but, no one's coming into a losing program and turning it into a winning program in year one.
Well said.
In fact, from my experience, from talking with a lot of coaches from around the area, the first thing you do is tear down all of the walls that used to be there and just accept that year one is going to be a loss.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many things that you can just turn around in 1 year. And it really is you've got to give head coaches 3 or 4 or 5 years to be able to get into the 5th and 6th graders.
Well said.
And get them excited about your sport and build them up because high school sports are just so competitive now that you can't just expect to come in and wave a magic wand and pick up a bunch of wins.
Yeah, well said. And that's honestly what I focused on right away was just each individual wrestler and each milestone that they can reach. And so, great shout-outs to Cody Cox. Unfortunately, he's the only wrestler I've ever trained that it didn't happen for him. Does that make sense? He was ready to make it to state. He's ready to win state.
And he was a kid from, all the way back freshman year was kind of on that maybe regional semi-state level from the very beginning. You knew it when you saw it.
Right. Yeah. So it was a tough one. I saw we both bawled our eyes out when he didn't make it at the ticket round. But it was cool to see Luke Dryband. He's a senior last year, and he didn't make it out of sectionals, but he made it to semi-state that year with us, his senior year. So that was really cool to just see those milestones. Carson Powell, who's a senior, not even a senior yet this year. He's a junior heavyweight for us, and he made a semi-state last year too. Super hard worker, and we're actually looking to make some alumni events for Norwell High School to like bring in wrestlers that have been there before, because we need some big guys. Like Carson Powell has literally me and Coach Gage to wrestle with, and I only weigh like 180.
That is one of the real challenges at any school smaller than 1,000 or 900 kids is having enough coaches and enough wrestling partners for those kids. And it doesn't matter whether it's your 285 or whether it's your 106. You've got to have somebody to practice with.
Amen. So yeah, we're working towards that. I mean, I can definitely still give them a challenge with what I have, so that's helpful. But I only can last so long, I guess.
So I know that we're glad to have you as part of the show, and we bring you in and we give you a taste of the Double Eagle Burger first to hook you in, and then and we make sure you're part of our show and you follow our show to make the statement. A previous coach says, "You guys got a show?" Yeah,
right.
So.
Right.
Yeah, we did struggle to make the Norwell connection in previous years, so we're very excited that we've picked you up for sure. And it really does a lot of times come down to making connections, and no head coach is going to have success if they don't tap into the community, into alumni, and those types of things. And that's one of the really hard things that you don't think about. Anybody can grab a kid and work with them 5 days a week, and over 3 or 4 months make him better at a double leg.
Amen.
But there's a lot more about it that goes on when you're a head coach than just what goes on from 3:30 to 5:30.
Well said.
And this is free. We can put anything out there that you want to talk about, and it's free. It didn't cost you a dime.
Right.
And that's what we're excited about, to build relationships with all of our area coaches, and to live it up when one of your kids has a great tournament. By all means, whether it's conference or whatever tournament that we're at, that we're there, we're here to build up your kids and to build up your program. I know we will have your matches against Belmont and AC and South Adams will be at your conference tournament, and all the way through that's the nice thing about the alignment that we have. God forbid we ever get into a situation where they've split Belmont, AC, South Adams, Norwell in sectionals. That's going to be awful, but we really enjoy that part of being at the same level of tournament all the way through.
Absolutely. Yeah. And speaking of recruitment too, I'm looking to meet with the head coach and maybe the all coaching staff of the football team of Norwell. So I would love to put that out there because they don't know that yet. But I am coming for them to just meet with them and explain, like, hey, if your football players experience wrestling, not play wrestling, but if they experience wrestling, their center of gravity, their ability to know their body, how to control it, and then control something else, will go through the roof.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of conversations on this show in past years about relationships between football programs and wrestling programs, football coaches and wrestling coaches. That's a well-established thing, and it's something that you have to do as a wrestling coach if you really want to have success.
So let's talk about the heavyweight national champion from Cal State Bakerfield, who never played football in his life and has 7 Super Bowl rings with the Patriots.
Come on, baby.
And Belichick said, that dude is the guy I want. They went and got him, gave him a pro contract, and never played a down of football.
Gosh. Yep. That's wrestling right there, fam.
We're going to have more with Coach LaRope here in a little bit. Right now, let's go to our next set of ads and be right back with the second period right after this.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season. Locally owned and operated by Shane Reynolds and family, DDD Maintenance and Repair is your place to go for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. Located just outside of Monroe, DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers sand and glass blasting for all of your surface restoration projects. Whether you're looking to get your truck or diesel engine to run like new, or your metal restoration project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
Welcome back once again to another segment of the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted here by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille. Nice little crowd in here tonight listening in person, which we encourage. That helps get more business into Jason's facility. And I tell you what, Coach LaRue can testify to the Double Eagle Burger. Every week they have a special. Last week they were running an omelet burger special that had a fried egg on it. If you're a fried egg on a burger guy, that's money.
It's for you. And we also want to give a shout out to Brad Weber, who is back for another year of supporting the show. And Coach, as you're getting acquainted with WZBD, we can tell you that we have several individuals in the community who aren't necessarily associated with any business who provide funding for our coverage of high school wrestling, both the show and our regular match coverage. And simply because they expect when Belmont is wrestling, that it's going to be on the radio, that they can find it, and that's what they want. And they want us to sit here and talk about Belmont wrestling on Sundays and to be able to hear that in their car on the way to work and those types of things. And so we give a shout out to Brad Weber and his whole family for their support, again, of our show here again in 25-26.
Now, to make some people happy that listen around the state, you've kind of broken our show up in years past. First 45 minutes, local wrestling. Second 45 minutes, statewide wrestling. We kind of keep that on track depending on what your pattern for the show is each week.
And trying to manage, and like you're a great example of it today. Sunday night's my date night with my wife. I got to give up that to appear on the show. We've got guys coming in from an hour and a half away who say, I'm not going to be there until 8 o'clock, so hold on for me. Or, hey, I can only stay till 6 or 6:30. So sometimes we have to juggle those things to make sure that it works. But, we're really excited for this season. And, of course, for getting to meet you tonight on the show and getting you scheduled here for later on in the season. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where, when we left off in the last segment, you were talking about your relationship with the football team. Obviously, Norwell's football team struggled this year. Didn't win a game they lost the first postseason. No, they
beat Belmont.
They beat Heritage.
Oh.
Yes?
Yeah, they turned it around.
Yes, they beat Heritage in the first game.
Yeah, because I had the game.
I was going to say, I
had the game.
I thought that you were there. But, so you missed out on maybe a couple days with some of your guys. But for the most part, you've gotten a true start to the season, unlike what South Adams and Adams Central are experiencing right there. Tell us a little bit about how your season's going to start and when your first event is.
Absolutely. Real quick side tangent. You mentioned Belmont. I got to give a shout-out to Xavier. His parents are even here, so love you guys.
They usually are on Sunday nights.
Yep.
That is the X-Man we call him.
That's the X-Man. Yeah,
the X-Man.
That's my boy right there. I got to train with him maybe 3 years. So Empowered by 3 when I had the academy.
Nice.
And Ike. Shout out to Ike as well with Purdue. So wanted to say that. And then, sorry, back to your question.
No, that's okay. We were talking about what's your timeline for your first meet and what you have, I guess, from now until Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's November 19th, I believe, is our first meet with Northrop. And we just set up that new duel this year, so that'll be in Fort Wayne in my area, so it won't be a 40-minute drive here this time. But, yeah, that's our first meet. What was your other question with that?
No, I was just what your first match was and how do you approach getting the season started on time, actually. I know we've talked to so many coaches, it feels like, where football has a big effect. You said roughly the same numbers as last year?
Yeah, roughly the same numbers. And let me say something, too, to like a big obstacle for a lot of football players to come to wrestling, and that's cutting weight.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, we don't cut weight, right? Seriously, I train our wrestlers to learn how to
wrestle. I don't cut weight anymore.
Right. Well, I did cut a lot of weight. I cut from like 160 to 130 my junior year, and I actually went crazy. So I don't recommend it because I was wrestling the scale more than I was wrestling. Mm-hmm. And I missed out my ticket round junior year in high school to get to state. I actually lost to Schwartz from Adams Central in overtime. So it was a big upset. And, yeah, then the next year I wrestled 152, and it was a game changer for me. So right now we're actually doing scratch weight on Thursday next week. So they're going to be doing their test with hydration tests. And what we're doing right now, for any guys that are considering going down at all, some of us have that little chub, even in football. Sorry, guys. I know you're doing hard work, but you're not doing wrestling work. There's a difference. And so we're going to be, right now we're in ketosis. So 3 days of ketosis. Now we always check with their physician first. But we do 3 days of ketosis, so no carbs. And once you get into ketosis, then you do a 3-day water and salt fast. And that right there is a biological reset where you go into autophagy. Your cells go internal. They destroy precancerous cells. Your growth hormone gets increased by 2,000%. Like all these amazing maxed out benefits, right? And so they're actually, once we hit Monday, they'll be into the fast. And we're with each other. We're in a group messaging system, supporting each other, taking picture of our food, all that type of stuff, right? And so it's not about starving ourselves. It's about learning how to nourish. But in this 3-day fast, we'll be able to do it only then and not the whole year.
Now,
So-
you talk about that a little bit. You talked about Ike. Ike come home and was talking to me about Purdue. They go high tech. He wears one of the rings.
Right.
And the ring goes on, and every morning he wakes up, and the nutritionist sends him a thing and said, you eat this at this time. You eat this
Yes,
at
come
this
on.
time. You drink this much ounces of liquid at this time. He said it was easy, no more
Amazing.
yo-yo-yo, because the ring tells you what your body is doing and what it needs.
So
and
beautiful.
the nutritionist they plug it in a computer. Computer tells you you can do this, and this, and and he just drop down and he
I
said it's
love it.
easy.
Yeah, it's so beautiful when you can learn your macros, like proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, for those that don't know what that is. And yeah, man, when you can reset and then have that hydration test, that's now the standard for you. You can't go any lower.
Mhm.
And so we're getting our guys dialed in with that right now. And Thursday will be our scratch time, and then we're going to be training up for going to Wabash College, actually.
Okay.
So we're taking a trip to that.
And you're talking about the level of success that you had the year before you came and last year. And when you're trying to build a program and you're trying to take baby steps, incremental steps, there's no reason to be cutting a bunch of weight.
Right.
When you don't have
fun.
When you don't, I mean, the teams who are really cutting weight hard is because they got 20 guys who think they're semi-state qualifiers. There's only 14 weights for them.
Yep.
You've got 12, 13 guys who think they're varsity wrestlers.
Right.
All you got to do is get them slotted in, and
Yeah.
that's it. And
We do have a lot of wrestlers that are similar weights this year.
Okay.
So that'll be an opportunity.
where are
But
you
it's-
heavy? Which weights?
It's going to be a lot of basically from 103 up to 165 areas. But I will say this too, shout out to Chase Benning, who is going to be a rock star this year. He's really dialing in and learning his body better, because last year he missed at regionals.
Yes,
And, man,
I do
did
remember
he
that.
beat himself up, and it's such an embarrassment and for himself that he's like, dude, I don't know if I want to wrestle next year. I was like, bro, we all have opportunities.
A lot of
We all
guys
have
who've
opportunities.
missed weight once or twice before.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate timing for sure, because
Yeah.
he saw guys at semi-state that he's beaten, and so that was heavy.
Right.
But
And I think
now-
that the challenge for you as a coach is to turn that situation into a learning experience.
Exactly.
And to let it motivate him to be a leader on the
Yes.
team this year.
And that's exactly what he is this year, period. Him and Owen Reynolds are just taking it full throttle. And that's what I told him this year. I was like, dude, let's not cut weight. And he's like, I'm planning on it. He's been working out. He's been lifting like crazy. He's just a beast. So
How many boys do you say you have total?
right now I got about 18.
Okay.
Yep.
So if Chase Benning is listening tonight, tell him this is the embarrassment when your father drives you all the way to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania,
Whew.
spend money that he didn't have to put you in a hotel room, and you miss weight the second day. That is not fun ride home from Pennsylvania. I can
bet.
guarantee you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's a thing that's why does the weight have to be a hard thing, though? It doesn't. And if we could just wrestle each other instead of the scale, I think it becomes a beautiful process. And the two things that all my wrestlers know is, number one is to score points, number two is to have fun. And it's in that order.
And
Because
there are
winning is more fun than fun.
there are
is fun.
plenty of examples, in the last few decades of it not being fun.
Right.
And that's definitely a balance that you have to find
Yeah, well
as a
said.
coaching staff for sure. So
Yes, sir.
let's continue this conversation after this next break.
Hello, this is Joel from your local hometown Package Liquors. Package Liquors provides the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers in Z-Land. With locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, you're always just a short drive away from picking up the perfect last-minute gift or just the right six-pack to watch the game with friends. You're never a stranger when you walk through the doors. and our smiling staff never has a problem giving you a recommendation when you're not sure what it is you need. Stop in at one of our 4 locations and see what hometown service looks like. Package Liquors, it's where your friends shop.
The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hirschy and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Welcome back once again to the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, and we just heard our good friends from Haggard Hirschy. And I tell you what, when you talked to Ryan Hirschy a few years ago and said, "Do you want to be part of this?" He said, "You know what? My dad always told me to go all in, never go halfway," and he did. And his name has been on a shirt for the last 4 years. So
yeah, and they've obviously added Blake Hirely to their full-time staff, and of course one of the great wrestlers here in the last decade from Adams County, and he's a big part of that as well. So big supporters of what we do here on our show. We're going to talk a little bit about scheduling, and I thought as we run through our schedule to let everybody who's listening know where we're going to be this year, we ought to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that a new head coach faces when it comes to scheduling. And I don't know if there's a sport out there where scheduling is more important than in high school wrestling. And you have the privilege of working with one of the very best athletic directors that's out there, and that's Kelby Waybright. Why don't you say a little bit about your relationship with him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Kelby is a bro. I think that we established that right away. We had some wrestlers that were kind of getting in trouble and doing certain things, and I think his respect for me grew right away when I embraced those young men that were in trouble with mercy and grace, and saying, where's the opportunity here? What did you learn? Because I think that's where Kelby's at with a lot of things too, is he looks at how can we get the lesson out of this. And so I can tell that he really cares. I know that he's got a lot on his plate, and it's funny how I'll be texting like, hey man, did you get this done? And then he's the same thing with me. It's like, Jimmy, did you get the video shot? Like, yes. So he's just a good guy all around, seriously, and I appreciate him a lot.
And, you know, you have to adjust your schedule. You have to take stock of what you have. You have to look forward. You have to be thinking, okay, 2 years from now, if we have the season I think we're going to have, and our numbers grow a little bit, I think we should be going here on this Saturday, and we can't be going here again 2 years from now. And, and you can't do that without the support of your athletic director.
Amen. Yeah.
What kind of Saturday tournaments are you involved in outside of the ones that we already know? Where else are you going?
Well, it's funny. We were going to pick up one in Munster, and that was my first lesson the first year, is that I can't just do whatever I want.
Yes. You do actually have to tell your athletic director and your transportation department that you are going to change.
You got to
there are contracts.
Yep.
You know, it costs more to drive to Adams Central than it does to go drive to Munster, and somebody got to pay for the gas.
Right. Yeah, it is an opportunity. So, yeah, honestly, the Northrop is the biggest duel that we're going to have coming up. But other than that, all the other tournaments like Westview and everything or Westfield will stay the same.
Yes. Is the Westfield, is that right after Thanksgiving?
The Westfield, here's what I do know about the date, is that it's right when they have their semi-formal dance.
Oh, boy.
And the boys hate that.
I could see that.
That's the only part that is the worst. Yeah.
Well, maybe you ought to talk to the person scheduling the dance and tell them that wrestling's up here.
Amen.
Dances are.
What are we doing?
That's generally the way that we should. I don't know.
What an opportunity.
I'll be honest. Belmont the last couple of years has scheduled their formal the same day as semi-state, and it's caused a big headache too as well.
Semi-state?
So. Yeah, doesn't make any sense, does it?
Yeah.
Well, here,
gosh.
let's use that segue here talking about Kelby, and I'm sure if you ask Kelby really nice for anything, he'd get it for you, because he does for us.
Yeah, anything you want.
Anything we ask for.
He always says, "Brew, you good?"
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He wants to make sure we got enough food, and always making sure to know that he ordered way more pizza than what he really needed, and if we want some more, we can.
Dude, he had meatball subs at Girls Regional.
Did he?
Meatball subs, baby.
I missed out.
He is very generous in that way.
Let's take a look at our schedule throughout the season this year. Our first three dates, of course, are going to be Belmont only because South Adams and Adams Central with their football success aren't going to get started yet. We will be at Wawasee on November 21st. That's the first match of the season for us. And we will also be at Snyder on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Now, I will give a what's the right word? A disclaimer. The first match of the year, assuming at least one of the teams wins on Friday, that will be YouTube only because semi-state football will be happening at the same time. And the following week, the match at Snyder is also going to be YouTube only because for whatever reason, the Adams Central and South Adams athletic directors don't consult us when they schedule girls basketball games. Sometimes you may find this hard to believe. Sometimes we think wrestling is more important than it may actually be.
I mean, I don't know.
We have in the past couple years realized that when AC girls are playing the South Adams girls in basketball, we should probably relent and switch over to YouTube and let those girls have their due. Because we have some great relationships with our basketball coaches, our volleyball coaches, some of those girls that we cover in other sports in the fall and the spring. So, anyways.
That's a beauty of YouTube. We rolled out YouTube last year, and it's like we've used it so much that, this year we took our show right straight to YouTube because there's a lot more benefits from. We actually have a camera. We can turn a camera around, see the live, or we can spin it on our ugly faces and people can watch us. But right now you're just on YouTube. You're looking at a static picture. But we do have technology. We can bring a camera in here.
That is special.
We'll also be at Goshen for at least one round, either on Friday or Saturday. We haven't seen the layout for that one yet. And then we will have what is right now scheduled to be the first South Adams match. They'll host Cowan at the Stardome on December 2nd. And then we'll have a pair of matches as they're scheduled right now. Bishop Dwenger will be home to Belmont, and South Adams will be at Delta. Then on December 9th, we'll have Norwell at AC. That's our first chance to get a look at your boys. And that same night, Belmont, the Braves are at South Adams. So I think I'll be at Adams Central with you. Rex, you're on the schedule to be with Josh down at the Stardome for – now, 2 years ago, that was an awesome duel, Belmont South Adams.
Yeah.
Last year, South Adams showed up with like 4 guys with 3 broken legs. And
they were on crutches.
There wasn't much of anything.
Yeah.
So, it just all depends. South Adams also has a match against Coldwater, and then we get ready for those conference duels. And we'll have the NE8 duels on Friday night, those 2 rounds for Belmont. And then we'll have the ACAC duels on Saturday the 13th. Then we'll have Adams Central and New Haven on December 16th, and Columbia City and Adams Central on the 18th. And then I'll be at New Haven for the New Haven 10-way. That's at New Haven this year, not at Yorktown. That's December 20th. And then the very next day on the 21st, that's when we'll reveal the last teams into the Team State Tournament on our show. Then we got the big showdown between Adams Central and Belmont. That will be on December 23rd. And that takes us all the way to our Christmas break.
Now, Dane, you were not at the ceremony, but that was part of my acceptance speech at the HOF. I said, Dane's the kind of guy that sends me a text and said, hey, can we do 5 wrestle matches in 3 days? And I was like, yeah, why not? Just tell me where to go.
That's what we do. So we will not have Al Smith coverage for you after the holidays because it doesn't happen until January 2nd and 3rd. So it's a little bit different for us, but we will bring you girls wrestling postseason coverage. We'll be at Mishawaka for the Al Smith. And then as we get ready for Team State, we've got to get these athletic directors from AC, Belmont, and South Adams to stop scheduling matches on the same night. We ought to be able to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
They don't run things past your black book.
I do have some meets here too. If you guys were
obviously you guys will be at New Haven for the NE8 duels, and we'll have the match for you when you wrestle New Haven. And it looks like, you guys scheduled Jake County. Was that one that was on the schedule last year?
Last year we went and wrestled them there. We'll have them home this year at Norwell High School, so that'll be fun.
And then you'll get a look at Wawasee. We get to see them here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and that's a nice super duel.
That match against Bluffton is always a fun one between you and them.
Oh, yeah. And I'll say this about the super duels, too, is like although we don't have like a giant full team stacked like that, it gets so many good matches in.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like so quick.
The format, I'm sure there's somebody who's romantic about the way it used to be, but I love the format now. I love the opportunity to have a lineup that you get ready for that weekend. Everybody wrestles it. Mary Freet says she's romantic about the way it used to be. She likes going to New Haven and to Columbia City. I will say I do miss my semi-annual trip to Columbia City, my biannual trip, I should say. I did enjoy that. There was a time when the Tuesday before Thanksgiving meant we wrestled Columbia City, and I probably went to the match 20 years in a row And now we don't get that anymore. We don't get to go to Columbia City.
We don't get to see the inflatable turkey at Thanksgiving.
No, we don't. I knew that was going to get brought up at some point.
Yeah, the inflatable turkey.
When we get into, like I said, January 6th, then we've got Homestead and Adams Central, South Adams and Yorktown. And then on the 10th, we've got Team State. We'll be at both locations, Brownsburg and Franklin. Then on January 13th, Coach AJ is bringing his AJ Bradley's coming and bringing his Bearcats to Decatur, and that's going to be the throwback night at the service complex at the old Belmont High School.
At the annex.
And we'll be excited for that one. You and I will be able to do that one together. Because
no way. We're actually together one time this year?
I'm being serious. And then on January 15th, we'll have Belmont at Yorktown, and then the girls' state finals the next day after that. And then I think we have 2 matches left after that, Carroll at Belmont and Norwell at South Adams.
Coach, we do so much football. It takes 12 weeks of football before Dane and I get to work a football game together. 12 weeks. The last week was this past Friday was the first week.
We were in a lot of different places. And then, of course, we will have the ACAC tourney on January 23rd, and we'll have the NE8 tourney on January 24th. And then each subsequent Saturday after that, we'll have all the levels of the high school wrestling tournament, and we will be following all those Norwell boys as far as they go. And we certainly hope to see you at the regional and at the semi-state. And one of these days, certainly from what we've seen from you tonight and your passion for your team and your program, I have no doubt that Norwell will be back at the state finals, and that's where they belong. I mean, we've talked for a long time about the strength of Wells County wrestling, and those Wells County schools have been well represented over the decades down in Indianapolis, and it's a lot of fun. Whether there's 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever it is, we certainly feel that love for them when they get to that point at the tournament.
Absolutely.
So, with that, we'll go back for another round of messages, and we'll be back with our next segment. You're listening to High School Wrestling Weekly here on WZBD.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work, too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season. Locally owned and operated by Shane Reynolds and family, DDD Maintenance and Repair is your place to go for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. Located just outside of Monroe, DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers sand and glass blasting for all of your surface restoration projects. Whether you're looking to get your truck or diesel engine to run like new, or your metal restoration project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
Welcome back once again for our next segment here on the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted once again, as always, by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille.
Yeah, and we're continuing our theme of highlighting the start of the girls' season here and a look forward. We talked to Pat Culp earlier about some of the changes, and we're joined by a girls' head coach, Mr. Thomas Westberg, and he is the head coach of the Hobart Brickies. Is there a female version of a Brickie, or are you just Brickies?
We are just the Brickies. We call ourselves the Lady Brickies.
I didn't know if there was a Brickettes theme going on there. You guys had a great tournament last year at the state tournament. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, at the state meet, the team state tournament, I think we went in unseeded, unranked, finished 6th. Had that tough second round match there against Maryville, but, they're pretty good. They went on to win it. But we have a pretty solid team. Girls are good. They work hard. Very proud of everything that they did last year, and looking forward to this season to do even more.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the format and how you guys navigated it. As wrestling coaches, you're creatures of habit. You know what to expect when you sort of get thrown into a tournament or you sign up for a tournament. This one was completely new, from the way you qualified to the way that it ended. How did your coaching staff go about that?
I can say USA Bracketing helps out quite a bit. With USA Bracketing, I was able to look up a lot of teams, see results, be able to sit there and figure out like how girls did against other teammates, just other schools that we have common opponents with, and just be able to figure out like what's the best matchup and best lineup to put forward. So I can say that really helped us out quite a bit.
Let's go back a little bit further. Tell us a little bit about how you ended up in the position that you're in as the girls' head coach.
What was it? I started working at Hobart 3 years ago because this is my 4th year there, and I was coaching at Portage High School with Leroy Vega. I was at Griffith High School for a little bit, but I just saw Jason Cook, who was the head coach there at the time. I said, "Hey, I can volunteer, help out if you need any help." And then he approached me with wanting to coach a girls' team, and I just said, "Yeah, why not?" And it just took off from there.
How is your relationship with Coach Johansson and the boys? I know there's a lot of discussion when we talk about girls wrestling about the nature of the two programs and how they work together. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
I'd say it works pretty well. Our AD, Mike Black, Johansson, and I, we get together and try to make sure that we're working together. We split time with the room. We finally now have like a set location for our girls team in the high school, because for a while we had to switch times with the boys and the girls. Like we had to switch in the field house who got to practice. We couldn't really practice together because our wrestling room's not that big to hold both teams, because the boys team's pretty large. We have a large team, but yeah, overall we just have one big program, one boosters club, and we just make one thing where it goes right from our wrestling club to middle school to high school, whether you're boys or girls.
Now, were you in action yesterday?
Yes, we were. We were at the Ileana Super Duels.
And how did that go?
We lost the first two. We lost a close one to Crown Point. Came down to the last one. We were up by 4 points and fell short, so we lost by 2. I think the girls were kind of down in the ruts. We lost a pin, which I didn't think we should have lost that one, but then they bounced back and we dominated Ileana and Portage. So starting the season 2-2 is pretty good.
Now, I know last year you had a couple of state qualifiers. Are both of those girls back for you?
Yes, Lena Regoza is back. She's 235, and then Joanna Cantu is still there. She's at 105.
And what can you tell us about those two girls for their senior seasons?
What was it? They look pretty good. Really surprised by Lena Regoza. She looked way better at the beginning of this season than she did last year. Last year at the Super Duel, she started the season 2-2, but now she's 4-0 and looks way better on her feet, way more aggressive, more dominant. So very proud of what she's doing.
And how many girls do you have out in total?
On the team total, we got 35.
35 girls. That's awesome. That just warms my heart just to hear it. And it gives you so many options. As I look at your team from last year's state finals, and I see that you've got a returning state qualifier at 105 and a returning state qualifier at 235. If you didn't know any better and you thought, oh, maybe he's only got 7 or 8 girls, that might be tough to get them a lot of training opportunities. But with 35 girls, you've got a lot of options as a coach as far as who trains with who and how to make each one of those girls better.
Oh, yes. What was it? We had some pretty good freshmen come in who are challenging them, and, they're coming in with their heads high saying they want to be varsity. So keeps everyone on their toes. So I like it. I was like, good, makes them more competitive, makes our team tougher.
What's your breakdown this year as far as dual meets and Saturday tournaments?
What was it? I think this November we're pretty heavy on tournaments, and then it kind of slows down to a lot more dual meets because of our conference in December. And then we have like our conference tournament then, and then winding down to sectionals. It's a quick season, it always feels like, for the girls. These 2 months go by quick.
Are you by chance going to be at the Columbia City tournament after Thanksgiving?
We will not be there because we weren't able to get some points allocated due to, just having other dual meets that we have that we can't get rid of yet. And so we're looking to go there eventually.
Nice. We're looking forward. We're going to be broadcasting the final round of that one. 64-team tournament, going to be a lot of fun. And we'll be at the state finals, of course, in January, and we certainly enjoyed watching your team and your girls compete last year, and we look forward to seeing what those 35 girls can do this year for the Brickies.
Oh, yeah, we're really excited. What was it? We only lost 2 seniors off our starting lineup, and they got replaced by 2 really good freshmen who I think have a good shot to run at state.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us on the show tonight, and I want to thank Coach Johansson for getting us hooked up with contacts, and we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll talk to you down the road.
All right, thank you.
So, Dane, I'd like to thank a couple of people that come out. My good buddy Tony Roman made it here today, and Tony went with Mary and I to the Hall of Fame banquet. He went down to make sure that Mary and I stayed out of trouble. He was our heavyweight. And also, the Palacios came tonight, and if you're looking for chickens at Rural King and Decatur, I think she bought them all out. There's none left. So just they have to wait for another batch of chickens to come in. I asked him and said, how many chickens does one man need? And he goes, one man? I don't need any. So.
Well, Rex, I would call it a successful first show. We thank all the coaches who called in and were present. We thank Pat and Mary for coming out tonight, and we look forward to next week's show where we're hopefully talking about a further delay of our wrestling coverage and our wrestling season, because we're hoping for wins from Coach Mosier's
Mojai,
yeah. On both of them. And, you know, I talked to Wes Somerset 2 weeks ago when I was at Tri, and I said something about highlights in a football helmet. And I said, I much prefer your highlights when you're wearing headgear compared to – he looked at me and said, you do? I said, absolutely.
Of course.
This football stuff's just for fun. The real season begins. We'll talk more next week about what that means for some of those coaches. We're going to link up with some wrestling coaches from football successful programs and what it looks like as far as how they handle the delay in the season. Still not having contact with some of your best wrestlers who are out on the football field and how that affects the season. We'll talk more about some of the girls' results that happen. There's a lot of dual meets scheduled here over the next couple days, and a couple of big tournaments next Saturday. There's some girls' teams who haven't gotten started yet on their season, but just about everybody will have a couple of matches in by the time we meet again next Sunday for episode number 2.
It's not because they're still playing football.
No, that is.
Hey, Dane, I got 2 commercials I'm going to play here, and then after these 2 commercials from our fine sponsors, I will lead right into the wrap. So once again, thanks everybody for coming out to the show live. Thanks for tuning in on YouTube, and we'll be back next week, same time, same channel here on WZBD's YouTube channel.
Hello, this is Joel from your local hometown Packaged Liquors. Packaged Liquors provides the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers in Z-Lane. With locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, you're always just a short drive away from picking up the perfect last-minute gift or just the right six-pack to watch the game with friends. You're never a stranger when you walk through the doors, and our smiling staff never has a problem giving you a recommendation when you're not sure what it is you need. Stop in at one of our 4 locations and see what hometown service looks like. Packaged Liquors, it's where your friends shop.
The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hirschy and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.